it was either the second, I'm pretty sure it was the second policy announced by Kevin Rudd, because it goes hand in glove with the high skills approach. The reality is Australia is not in the middle of Europe, it's not in the middle of North America, we're a long way away. How do you get close? Broadband. It's shameful to see that our broadband rollout is insignificant compared to places like China. I mean, that's shameful to think that the opportunities that this government has missed with Telstra and the money that's been available, the budget surpluses, and they're not, they poo-pooed Labor's broadband plan, poo-pooed it from day one, until about a month or two later, then they realised that's a bloody good idea, and they just went totally silent on it because they realised that is the way of the future. So John Howard certainly did an incredible flip-flop when it came to our broadband plan. The reality is the only way we're going to keep competing in the knowledge revolution, which is what we're in the middle of now, will be with a proper high-speed broadband network for all of Australia, or as much of Australia as is physically possible. I think John Howard's fear campaign was especially effective in 2001 and 98. The Children Overboard and Tampa incident were played up to by John Howard. He certainly knows how to cultivate fear in the community. For a man that talked about being relaxed and comfortable, he's done all that he can. He and his team have done all that they can to cultivate fear in the community. Now, that's not the Labor way. That's not the Kevin Rudd way. We're a party that's committed to hope and looking to a brighter future, rather than trying to, that John Howard view of the world, which seems to be, he's got his rear vision mirror firmly planted on 1950. That's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. The reality is Australia is a multicultural country. We're a country of great wealth, and we need to be proud of what we can do in terms of helping people from around the world that the United Nations High Commission on Refugees said need our help. So that's certainly... Will John Howard run a fear campaign again? Quite probably. I know my opponent in Moreton has made some shameful speeches about the black faces in the community, and it's someone that should know better has been very, very disappointing in terms of taking a lead in an electorate that has quite a high proportion of people from who are culturally and linguistically diverse. We should be taking a lead in terms of making sure that there is a community of inclusion rather than cultivating fear and separation. Well, we've got a very good detention policy. Very good policy for those few people who get to our shores not through the normal processes, which is what we're talking about. Certainly, I don't think we agree that the solution is not to have $1 million facilities offshore on Nauru and places like that, which are an incredible drain and a waste of money. So our policy is basically to have some screening, for health checks and things like that, and then to move people into the community as quickly as possible while the assessment process takes place. And remember, we're only talking about a very, very small group of people here, a very small number of people. So why put them in a detention centre for 6 or 7 years and then have them at the end of that time be able to go into the community? 7 years in Baxter Detention Centre is not good preparation for Australian society. So the Labor policy is more about having people move into the community as quickly as possible. Certainly women and children should not be, young kids should not be put in the middle of a desert in a jail, which is basically the current policy. So a much more humane approach, I think, is warranted. And it's a sad day when people are talking about all people are talking about is this incredible, as if there are millions of boatloads of people waiting on the horizon. That's not the reality at all. Look, in terms of stability in their lives, one of the first things we can do is tear up work choices, because that has created uncertainty. Job security is an important thing for people. It means you can make decisions about mortgages and buying houses and holidays and all those sorts of things, whereas you're not sure if you're going to be sacked at any time. That doesn't make for a happy household, and that anxiety can flow all through a family. So one of the first things we'll do is rip up work choices and create a much more fair and equitable industrial relations environment. There will be a transition period, but basically we'll restore fairness from day one, so that people can have a bit of security about what their job environment's like. So that's part of it. Number two is to make sure that we've got a very sound economic management. Certainly Kevin Rudd is a fiscal conservative. He's committed to making sure that the budget is balanced over the life of the budget, basically, and that will give some security to people as well. We've got to remember that this is a Prime Minister who, when he was Treasurer, had cash rates of above 20%, 21, 22%. So he turns around and says now that interest rates have never been better, even though we just had 9 interest rate rises on the consecutively. But when I talk to people, they also are not just talking about the interest rates, it's housing affordability generally, or how maxed out their credit cards are, the price of childcare, the price of petrol, all those other things effectively mean that the disposable income has decreased significantly over the last 11 years. And that's a more realistic value of security and how people see the world. So, I mean, interest rates are obviously a part of it, and I've got a mortgage, so I'm affected by it as well. But getting rid of work choices, responsible economic management, and just a more some fresh ideas, generally giving hope to people on climate change and those big challenges in education.